Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if it's your first time. It's great to have you here. I'm Bianca and I basically just talk about all things lifestyle, motherhood and property. I'm just sharing my world with you guys. So that's me. Today's video is quite controversial, as you can probably tell from the heading, the title. I wanted to talk about this subject because I'm seeing that it's sort of rising in its popularity and the trend growing where we're almost starting to demonize house buying and owning your home and glorify renting. And so I thought that I would sort of give my 2 pence worth, as it were, on the subject. So it kind of is a rent versus buy kind of video. And so the first thing I think we would have to start with is, do you have the money saved to buy a house? And if you don't have the money saved to buy a house, then you can't buy a house. You need to rent somewhere or stay at home and save some more. Like, that sort of helps you make the decision if it's time to rent or buy. But if you do have the money saved to buy a house, I guess that's when there is more of a debate as to whether you should rent or buy a house. And, you know, a lot of the videos that I've seen, they've all spoken about things like the maintenance. If you rent somewhere, you're not in charge of the maintenance. If the boiler breaks, da-da-da-da-da. Or, you know, if you rent somewhere, you can't decorate it. But, you know, that's a good thing in essence, because it's not your money. Like, all these sort of, I call them trivial things, because they're things that you can work your way around. Also, like the relocation element. If you buy a house, you can't relocate. Well, you can, you know, you can get permission to let. If you can't change your mortgage product, you can get permission to let from your mortgage lender and rent your house out whilst you go somewhere else. Or, you know, if you're renting somewhere, you can ask for permission to decorate your house. I've done that with some of my tenants in the past, and actually currently they've said, actually, can we just do a light decoration? And I said, yeah, if there's anything that I deem too extravagant, then at the end of your tenancy it needs to be put back to what it was. But yeah, you know, make yourself at home. So I say that to say it's very flexible. You may have to do something differently, but there's nothing that you can or can't really do if you rent or buy a house. So this isn't the end of my video. There's obviously more point that I'm trying to make, and it does lead me to my biggest point, and that is, I'm hearing so much these days, oh, Elon Musk is selling all his portfolio of mansions. That's millions of pounds that he's selling, and he rents his house, so we should be renting too. It irks me when I hear people talk about this and end the sentence there. I really dislike when that's where the sentence ends, because that's not what Elon Musk is just doing. Elon Musk, yes, he has sold his portfolio, or a majority, if not all. No, I think he sold a majority of his portfolio, sorry. And yes, he has liquidated his assets. But he's not just got that money sitting in the bank doing nothing with it. He's investing that money. So the end of that sentence is, yes, he's liquidated all his assets. Yes, he's chosen to rent his home that he's living in so that he can invest his money elsewhere. So my point is, and this is really, I think, the only thing, or the biggest thing you need to consider if you're deciding whether you should rent or buy somewhere. Can you afford to have tens of thousands of pounds locked up in your property? It's not thrown away. I hear people talking about it like you've literally thrown it away. No, you haven't thrown it away. You just don't have access to it. Your house, if you buy smart, you should have a house that has some equity in it. So over time, even though it might not be in your bank, you have got a reserve of money in your house. So there is that. There is that. You've got that equity, so you're not just throwing the money away. So can you afford to have that money locked up? But two, if you didn't buy the house, so if you saved this, say, 60 odd grand that you would be needing for the deposit, and you rented somewhere, what would you be doing with this 60 or 100 or however much money you've saved? What would you be doing with that? Because if your answer to that question is, well, it would just be sitting in my bank, I don't really know what I would invest it in, I don't really have any business ideas, then honey, I would suggest you buy your home, buy somewhere, because at least the money's sitting in the bank. You are going to dip into it. There are going to be rainy days. There are going to be shoes that you want. There are going to be bags that you want. There is going to be things that crop up in life. So before you know it, that money's just going to go down and down and down. But secondly, if you put that in your house, that money is not going to be going down and down and down. And actually, it's going to be going up and up and up as your house value increases. So the only reason I would say you would rent over buying if you've got something to do with the cash, if you're trading, if you're investing in property. I've got a mentor that is a very strong advocate for renting where you live, but owning where you rent. So yes, rent your house, your home, but buy rental properties. Not everybody wants to be a landlord, so that might not be your cup of tea. But there, you may have business ideas. I think I've mentioned trading. There may be things that you can invest your money in. But so then you want to have that money. You want to have that liquid asset. You want to have access to that money. But if you're actually at a point where you don't know what you would do with it, then buy your home. If you've got the money, buy somewhere, because bricks and mortar is a very good investment. If done wisely, it is a very good investment. And so then what you could do is use the 2 or 5 years that you've bought your property to come up with an investment plan, so that when it comes to the time to remortgage, you can then decide, this is what I'm going to do, or no, I'm not going to, I don't want to invest in anything right now. I'm actually cool how it is. Or actually, yep, I've got this business idea, or actually I do want to go into property, or I do want to do this. You can use that time to come up with a plan. But meanwhile, your money's actually been growing. It's been growing quicker than it would have been growing in the bank. And you haven't been able to dip into it because it's been locked up in your house, basically. So yeah, that's my take on the rent to buy debate. The other things are trivial. You're not locked in an area. You can, if you don't want to be paying for when the boiler breaks, then make sure you've got good cover, that you pay a small amount each month. That's not a reason to not buy, and it's not a reason to buy. That there are things that, those kind of things you can work your way around. But I would say we need to be smart, and we need to be wise with our money, and we need to think about how we're going to leave a legacy, how we're going to build something that we can leave behind. And so that's not a one size fits all. That is what's your plan. So I think when working out what your plan is, you just need to think, what am I going to do? If I've got this pot of money now, and I don't buy a house with it, I don't buy my home with it, what am I going to do? And if your answer to that question is nothing, or is quite trivial, then go and buy your house. Or if your answer to that question is, oh, actually, I really do want to do this, or I actually really do want to start that, or I really want to invest in this, then maybe it would be wise to rent somewhere so that you still have access to that cash. That's just my point of view on it, guys. There are quite a few videos on this topic, so have a listen around, but that's what I have to say. Hope you guys are okay. I hope you're well. Hope that, lockdown is sort of ended now, so or ending. I don't even know what's happening in this world. So I hope that it's well with you and yours. Comment if you've got any ideas or any thoughts, or anything that you're thinking about this subject, or any questions about renting or buying. Comment them below, and I'll be sure to answer them if I can. And subscribe as well. We're here every Wednesday, so yeah, subscribe and click the notification little thing, and I'll see you next week. See you, bye.